For today's session, we're going to have solving problems involving consecutive integers. Okay, so isa sa mga problems na nai-encounter natin sa mga word problems is yung solving problems involving consecutive integers. Ayan. So, papaano ba natin? Usually, nagkakaproblema dito, papaano i-represent yung consecutive integers? Yung consecutive odd or even, papaano siya i-represent? Papaano tayo magre-represent ng mathematical representation for them? So, paiikliin lang natin sa session na ito para mas madali nating masolve, lalo na sa mga exams, sa mga contest. So, every time po na ma-encounter nyo po yung consecutive integer na term doon sa problem, ito po yung gagamitin po natin na representation. Okay? Ito yung gagamitin natin na representation. This is the first integer, the second integer, the third integer, the fourth integer, so on and so forth in that pattern. So, babantayan nyo lang pong term is consecutive integer. Pag na-mention po yan sa problem, ito po ang gagamitin po natin. Kaya lang, hindi yan lahat gagamitin mo. Depende kung ilang integers ang hinahanap o kung find the 3 consecutive integers. O ito lang tatlo ang gagamitin mo. First, second, and third. Kung 4, edi itong 4 ang gagamitin mo. Sundan nyo lang po yung pattern. So, x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, x plus 4 ang susunod. So on and so forth in that pattern. Ngayon, papaano naman pagka consecutive odd or even ang binanggit sa problem? So, pag nakita nyo po yung consecutive odd or even doon sa problem, ito po ang representation na gagamitin ho natin. So, take note, pareho po ang representation na gagamitin, whether odd or even, consecutive odd or even ang binanggit sa problem. We will use the same representation. So, in this case, our x here is the first integer. X plus 2 is the second integer. X plus 4 is the third integer. And x plus 6 is the fourth integer, so on and so forth in that pattern. So, ito po yung gagamitin nating representations once na nag-solve na ho tayo ng mga sample problems involving consecutive integers later on. Okay, let's have the sample problem. So, this is the problem. The sum of two consecutive integers is 125. Find both integers. So, ayan po yung, common na common yan sa mga exam, sa mga contest, sa mga entrance exam, lumalabas din yan. Ayan. Pagka mga number relation problems, hindi po ito mawawala. Okay? Hindi siya mawawala. Common siyang tinatanong. So, okay. Ang gagawin lang ho natin dito, every time po na magkaka-encounter tayo ng problems involving consecutive integers, word problems involving consecutive integers, babantayan ho natin yung keyword. Ang sinabi dito, ang sum ng dalawang magkasunod na integers is 125. Hindi niya binanggit kung odd or even. Sinabi lang niya consecutive integers. In this case, ang gagamitin po nating representation dahil binanggit ay consecutive integers, ito po. X plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. So on and so forth in that pattern. However, dahil dalawang consecutive integers lang naman na pinag-uusapan natin dito, hindi lahat ito ang gagamitin natin. But instead, we are going to utilize the first two integers in this representation. In this case, we will let x as the first integer. So ito po yun. And we will let x plus 1 as our second integer. Ang next natin kailangan gawin is to formulate or to have the equation na gagamitin ho natin in solving this problem. Okay? Since it was mentioned in the problem that the sum of the two consecutive integers is 125, our equation now for this problem is x plus 1 equals 125. Okay, so this will be now our equation. So x, this is the first integer, plus x plus 1, this is our second integer, and their sum is 125. Now, simplifying this equation further, so we just combined x plus x, that is 2x plus 1 equals 125. However, we cannot combine 2x and 1 because they are unlike terms, but we can transpose 1 on the right side para si 125 and 1 ang masisimplify natin. In that case, you have 125 minus 1. As we transpose a 1 on the right side, we change its sign. Simplifying this further, you have 2x equals 124. But then, since we are asked to find for the value of x here, we will divide both sides by 2. So 2x divided by 2, and then 124 divided by 2, cancel ito, ang value ng x natin ay 62. Again, since problem solving ito, hindi ibig sabihin na nahanap mo na yung value ng variable, tapos na yung problem. Balikan natin yung tinatanong sa problem. The problem is asking for two integers. We need to find both integers. Yung dalawang integers na nawawala dito. Okay? Therefore, dahil ang x natin ay 62, at siya ang first integer natin ay 62. Okay? And since ang second integer natin, nirepresent ito gamit ang x plus 1, it follows that x plus 1, pag sinubstitute natin yung value ni x, that is 62 plus 1 equals 63. Therefore, our final answer for number 1 is 62 and 63. Ito po yung dalawang consecutive integer na hinahanap natin sa number 1. Ngayon, if you will try to check, 62 plus 63, that is 125. So, tama yung nakuha natin. That is our problem number 1. Okay, let's have the second problem. This is the problem number 2. Find two consecutive even integers whose sum is 306. Okay, so this will be our last example. Okay, find two consecutive even integers whose sum is 306. Okay, so babantayin natin dito is keyword. Okay, labi sa problem, hanapin daw natin yung dalawang consecutive integers na pinag-add natin sila. Ang sum ay 306. Ngayon, the mere fact na binanggit sa problem yung consecutive even integer, consecutive even, dalawang magkasunod na even, ito po ang gagamitin nating representation. Hindi na ako magpapakita pa ng example ng consecutive add kasi same lang naman ang representation ng consecutive add or even. Okay? Ngayon, x plus 2x plus 4x plus 6, so on and so forth in that pattern, ito po ang gagamitin nating pattern or representation once na consecutive even or add ang na-mention sa problem. But then, since binanggit lang naman dalawang consecutive even, itong first two lang ang gagamitin natin. In this case, we will let x as our first integer. Okay, that is our first integer. And x plus 2 is our second integer. Okay? Now, the mere fact that it was mentioned in the problem that the sum of these two consecutive even integers is 306. Our equation now is x plus 2 is equal to 306. Okay? Ngayon, simplifying this equation further, you have 2x plus 2 equals 306. Pinagsama lang natin si x plus x kasi like term sila. Transposing positive 2 on the right side, you have 306 minus 2. Okay? Kasi as we do the transposition, we change its sign. That is the mathematical effect. Simplifying this equation further, you have 2x is equal to 304. However, we are asked to find for the value of x. Okay? Isa yun sa hinahanap natin. So, we will divide both sides by 2. So, 2x divided by 2, and then 304 divided by 2. Makakancel ito. Ang value ng x natin ay 152. We just simply divide 304 with 2. However, hindi ibig sabihin na nahanap na natin yung value ni x tapos na yung problem. Balikan po natin yung problem. Ang hinahanap po sa problem, take note, that we need to find the two consecutive even integers. Since ginamit natin si x at si x plus 2 to represent yung hinahanap nating two consecutive even integers, therefore, our first integer is 152. Kasi ang value ng first integer natin, we represent it using the variable x. Dahil may value na si x, 152 ang ating first integer. The second integer now is 154. Bakit po? We use x plus 2 as the representation for the second even integer. However, since we already have the value for x, this will become 152 plus 2 equals 154. So, 152 and 154 ang ating final answer for number 2. Naway marami kayong naunawaan at nakuhang inputs or insight in our short discussion pertaining to solving word problems involving consecutive integers. I am Mr. Jonathan Piroman, a Mathematics A teacher from Ilaya Verongka Integrated School.